I do the same thing, right? I get up from the couch, I go to the kitchen, my cat follows me. We both get there, we both look around and say, why are we here, right? The key is you didn't forget what you were going to say. You didn't forget where you were driving. I didn't forget why I went to the kitchen. In all three cases, we never learned. We never registered the information. We're too distracted. The brain is not able to multitask. You can only do one thing at a time. But what we try to do, I don't know if there's a term for this, but we try to multi-process. We try to multi-think. So what's happening is we're thinking about too many things at the same time. So you start with one thought in the sentence, and then because you're so busy these days, we're so distracted, especially from e-media, the distractions become greater and greater. The bandwidth gets wider and wider. So what's happening is we're not taking the time to finish a thought. We're not taking time to register one single thought before we jump to the next one. We're becoming almost like an attention deficit society because there's so much going on. There's so much bandwidth going on. We got to step back and say, focus on one thing at a time. Be present in the moment. Yeah, you can do 10 things in 1 hour, but only do one thing at a time. Be present, be passionate about it, and don't multi-process, because multitasking is a myth. You can only do one thing at a time. You can multi-process, but it's not going to serve you well. So that's the key, is be present, passionate, in the moment, just like a child is. Don't be distracted by so many other things.
And I found that fascinating when I read your book, because I had no idea that the brain wasn't capable of multitasking.
Yeah, the brain's in the moment. The brain itself is processing in the moment. And in terms of there's the brain. So the brain's allowing you to do multiple things at the autonomic level, right? It's controlling your breathing, your heart rate, right? So it can multitask at that passive autonomic level that just keeps you alive. Make sure that you swallow, make sure you breathe, make sure your heart rate's going. But at the conscious level of active, conscious tasks and activities, your brain can only send signals for you to do, basically one thing at a time. So you may be thinking you're multitasking. You're on the computer, you're on the phone, you're doing a conference call, you're on mute. At the same time, you're doing your emails. You want to make sure they don't hear your keyboard clicking. But let me tell you something. If you're writing an email while you're on a conference call, you may think you're listening to the conference call, but you're just getting pieces of it. What's happening is that for split seconds, you're leaving that email attention and you're hearing what's happening on the conference call. You're getting enough pieces of the conference call to not sound like an idiot when you finally have to speak. You're getting enough attention on the email that you're not writing something crazy. But really, you're only doing one thing at a time and shifting very rapidly between them. And you're doing disservice to both of them by trying to do both at the same time. And I'm just as guilty of this. I mean, believe me, it's a challenge, a big challenge for me to practice what I preach. I have to say that.
Rudy, we need